This is Mastering Your Wealth with David Gagnon, the podcast.
We talk about him all the time, Mr. Warren Buffett. He is a multi-billionaire. So what he does with his own money may not exactly apply to us, but really as a part of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren has been decreasing his risk in stocks and now holds over $344 billion in cash and equivalents. I guess really the bottom line is if he's de-risking his portfolio, to me it says flashing lights. I need to be de-risking mine. Is that the thing you're getting as well, David?
Well, people are kind of concerned about where the height of the market is. Some people feel there's a time in the short term, maybe by the end of the year, there could be a correction. I mean, you're hearing it on both sides of the table with the media channels, and a lot of people feel that the market's overvalued and we could see some type of pullback. But the thing is, if you have a strategic investment plan that's designed with airbags on your money, there are ways to incorporate your investments and using strategies that can still allow you to participate in the market when it's doing well, but also have some safeguards on the downside so you don't get beat up if the market does go through a correction. And that entails some comprehensive planning analysis to see if, in fact, you are in those areas where you can have some airbags on your money, or if not, how do you employ them and implement better strategies so you don't get blindsided and you have a backup plan. The people that are very vulnerable are the ones that are in retirement that might be taking on too much market risk without any safeguards that prevent them from going off the rails in retirement. So investment planning is something that's obviously ongoing. There's so many different opportunities out there to enhance your investment strategies, but you have to use the right tools and techniques. And we educate people on some of the things that they don't really know exist out there. And some of the things that we do use are, quite frankly, on the institutional side of the money management world where the wealthy people are using these types of tools. So we want our clients to have those advantages as well. And you don't have to be ultra wealthy to have access to those resources.
So how do you plan for taxes? Are you one of those that just has April 15th and that's it? That's your frame of mind? Or does it go beyond that? Well, here's wealth manager Jeffrey Levine on Decoding Retirement podcast.
Another common mistake I see individuals make is focusing too much on their annual taxes and their annual tax bill and not enough on what I call their lifetime tax bill. You know, when it comes to good tax planning, it's not about giving anybody the lowest tax bill in any one year. It's looking at their lifetime and trying to figure out how to pay taxes over that extended period of time such that the total of those taxes over your life is as low as possible.
So, David, does this match your view of, I guess, tax bracket management? Talk to me.
Yeah, I truly agree with Jeff. In fact, I know Jeff. He and I were participating with the EdSlock Elite Advisory IRA Advisory Group for a good number of years, and Jeff does great tax planning. And you really need to look at a forward-looking tax reduction strategy because you want to look into the future with how you're putting your money in different tax types as you're saving for retirement today, and you have to look at your lifetime tax bill. And when we do the comprehensive strategic portfolio analysis along with your planning, we can look into the future with how that's going to look from a tax perspective. And what we find most often, people are accumulating way too much money in pre-tax retirement accounts without looking at what their required minimum distributions might look like when they need to take out the minimum from their retirement accounts, whether they're age 73 or in some cases 75 for many people. And we can see what their RMD problem is going to create in the form of a growing tax problem because we're finding that people are going to have to take more income out of their IRAs than what they plan to need or live on. And so you have to always look into the future with your financial decisions today to see what you need to do for planning today. So with tax planning, when we can overlay what you're currently doing and then show what a tax strategy that might be implemented today could save in the form of taxation, we're showing people that, you know, these tax savings could be, the younger you figure this out and implement, these tax savings could amount to a 7-figure reduction in your tax bill over your lifetime. And so think about that. That is a significant wealth transfer that would occur during your lifetime that is a tax inefficiency, which means you're going to have to absorb that by paying those taxes out of probably your nest egg. So you're going to lose, say it's $1 million in taxes in your lifetime, but it's not just that. It's the lost opportunity cost of that money not still invested earning some type of rate of return. So these are wealth transfers that we identify that we can create value with good planning, and that's the key. If you're going to do any planning with any advisor, you want to work with somebody that can look at all these moving parts and not just focus on your investment plan, because quite frankly, most of the calls we get are people that have advisors. Mm-hmm. And they're calling us because they're not getting help in these areas for tax planning, especially. And I'm a licensed CPA and tax advisor, and I've been doing this for decades. This is where we create a lot of value when we're working with folks in implementing their planning, because we're looking at all the moving parts, and that's important. If you're just focusing on your investments, something else is suffering and costing you money. So if you want to get the things that are in your blind spot in the foresight to better understand how you can make probably dramatic improvements in your lifetime, give us a call. Let us have that discussion and do that portfolio analysis just as a starting point to see where you're vulnerable and where your weak points are in your lack of planning possibly.
Think about this. How much would it take for you to live comfortably? Well, when Schwab asked about 2,000 people that question, the answer was a net worth of $840,000. They also found that 8 in 10 Americans feel wealthy when it comes to the quality of their relationships, their happiness, and their free time. So, David, when you talk to clients about retirement, is it more about making money or making memories?
It's really about making memories. I mean, people want to live their retirement at a lifestyle that they envisioned, and it could be all kinds of things. And not just paying the basic necessities of maintaining a household, but people like to retire. They want to do things with the family, the grandchildren. They might have things on their bucket list. They might want to join a country club. So we have to model all this out and make sure that we can design a plan that can absorb all of these expenses and adjust it for inflation and taxes. And so the key is to have a plan that's designed to accomplish your desired lifestyle and stress test it for things that could change. But the main thing that people are looking for is validation that they can accomplish what they want to do in retirement and not have to worry about their money. And that's the only way to get to that point is to have a plan and follow the plan and have it funded correctly and appropriately. And so we can validate and give people permission that, yes, you can take your annual vacation. You can do this with the grandkids. A few years ago, we were working with a new couple. They had grandchildren, and they wanted to start to budget things they wanted to do with their grandkids. And they wanted to take, while the grandkids were young, they wanted to take them all to Disney World every year for 5 years straight.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And that can get expensive, right? So,
yeah.
But we built that into their income plan, and they were able to do it and not have to worry about it. And so people are looking for comfort in what they're doing with their money, predictability. They don't like surprises, and we can build a plan that has the airbags and keeps things very low risk, but also consistency and giving them the cash flow that they're going to need, because we will design a strategic income plan so they can see in their own numbers where the money needs to be invested and where it's going to come from and when it's going to come from, those various resources. And that is a great tool. And I don't see anybody that has come to us that are working off of any plan. They have money in investments, and they're finding out that they've made some costly mistakes along the way, and now they're worried about spending any more of their money, and because they don't know how long they need that money to last. So if you take the guesswork out of your planning decisions and you have a plan to follow and you have your numbers and you have a plan, your decisions are easy, and you can sleep at night and not worry about what's going on in the world and all the news you keep hearing, because you have it under control. And we're always going to be there to keep tweaking things to make sure you stay on track. And that's the key. If you have a coach, right? All the professional athletes have great coaches, and they're performing at a very high level because they're not making the traditional mistakes in how they're doing their training and how they're going through their mechanics and things like that. We want to have a plan, just like building a house. You're going to work off of a plan, and you're going to get what you envisioned. Same thing with your world of finance. If you have a plan, then you're going to eliminate a lot of the guesswork and a lot of the mistakes that a lot of people truly make. And so planning is the key, and we want people to enjoy their retirement and know that they can spend without the worry.
And that's the idea. Spend without the worry. Take the worry off the table, the anxiety off the table. Making memories should be what it's all about, right? Because you've done the hard work of putting the plan together. And, back to what Schwab found out, a lot of folks say they need $840,000. I'm just curious, is that a magic number? Should we all be striving for that? Because everybody's situation is different, really.
Yeah, I don't like any of this cookie cutter advice. You always hear, well, if you have $1 million, you can retire. Well, if your monthly spending needs that covers everything you want to do in retirement is $5,000 or $60,000 a year, and you have $1 million plus you and both spouses have a Social Security, you're probably going to be perfectly fine. But a lot of people have a higher lifestyle spending that $1 million will not be sufficient for. So you can't provide cookie cutter advice and goals to plan for, because if you're working at age 40, and you think, okay, I just heard that if I have $1 million, I can retire when I'm 65. Mm-hmm. And that's all you set your savings goal for. And now you get to 65, and you haven't really accounted for what inflation might do to money and really, truly, in fact, looked at your spending lifestyle objectives. You might find that now you have to adjust your spending to what you can afford, or your lifestyle to what you can afford, and it may not be what you had planned on or had hoped for. So you just can't do cookie cutter planning advice, because there are a lot of variables that are very important to know before you even get to retirement, such as how much do you truly need to save today to have enough at your retirement age or desired retirement age to last as long as you think you're going to both live if you're a married couple. But the other variable you need to know is, all right, well, what rate of return do I need before and through retirement? And what is my tax cost going to be? Because if we forecast what your tax bill is going to be, we can compensate or implement a tax strategy that might lower that tax bill, which means you don't have to save as much to overcompensate for that inefficiency of paying unnecessary taxes because you don't have a tax strategy.
Don't think financial fees make a difference in your retirement plan? You might want to think again. Listen to this. The Department of Labor says that just a 1% fee can lower your retirement savings by 28% over 35 years. Let me do some math for you. They say you have $1 million in your 401k. You're going to lose 25% of it to taxes, and then you lose over 25% of it again to fees. So you get to enjoy, I guess, maybe $500,000 of your million, half the money that you save there, guys. Big deal. So, David, this is a big topic. Folks, are they aware of that, and what can they do about it? A fee, you can't really negotiate that,
Well, it's important to understand what you're paying for in any type of cost, whether it's investment advisory fees, management fees, admin fees, tax costs. There's all kinds of costs that are attacking your money. And when you work with somebody that's just focused on your investment plan, right, and you're paying that firm an investment advisory fee, but they're not looking at all the other things that you're losing money on, and you're not incorporating good planning to avoid those fees and create better value long term, that advisor is really truly an investment advisor, not a planner. And what we try to get people to understand is you're going to pay cost, but you want to be aware of the cost first of all. But what is the corresponding value that your advisor is creating for you, because they're addressing a lot of different things that are going to help you avoid making costly mistakes that many people make, such as when do you claim your Social Security? How do you optimize your Social Security joint lifetime income? Your pension strategies, there are ways to maximize your pension. If you're not getting that type of help and you're losing money in your pension choices, then there's going to be a cost there. Your tax planning, and that's an area where a lot of people are overpaying their taxes because they're not having a forward-looking tax strategy implemented. Your out-of-pocket health care, if you're not addressing that, or your income planning, or your investment plan that's not truly aligned with your personal goals. And when we quantify what a strategic plan will do in mitigating taxes especially, think about it. If we're charging a fee, the same fee as your investment advisor, right? But we save and could save you $500,000 in your lifetime taxes or $1 million that you would have paid, or other areas where we mitigated risk, increase your yield. All these changes to a designed plan that's going to mitigate a lot of these wealth transfers, if they're creating substantial value over your lifetime, then the fee is definitely worth paying, right? Because otherwise you're going to have to take a lot more risk to overcompensate for all these mistakes. And so fees are important to understand what they are and what the corresponding value is with whoever you're working with. And I see so many people come in and they have their investments and they have investment advisors or insurance agents, and I'll ask them, how did the investment advisor or insurance agent know that this is where you should be putting your money since you don't have a plan? They can't answer that. How do you know? I don't know where to invest somebody's money until I have a plan in place. Because all investments are great investments if they're the right fit for your plan. If they're not the right fit, now you're going to have some inefficiencies going forward. So if you want to take the guesswork out of planning, give us a call. Let's have that discussion about what your concerns are, and we can do that portfolio analysis to see if you do have some holes currently in your planning, and then we can have a broader discussion on how planning truly should be worked and implemented.
For more details or to sit down with David for your complimentary financial GPS, visit masteringyourwealthradio.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor and an affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and First Financial Planners are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BWA, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents.
Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional.
Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims-paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone.
David Gagnon and First Financial Planners are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.
Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interests of our clients and to make full disclosure of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure of the ADV 2A Item 4 for additional information.